Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for taking the time for this interview, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no worries.
Okay, cool. So, let's get started then. I've been a fan of yours actually since your first album. I've been rocking with you since then, and I'd like to know, start at the beginning and talk about how you were first discovered as an artist and how that led to your signing with Capitol back then.
Well, I was first discovered. A friend of mine met a producer in Los Angeles that he played some of my songs for, and he really liked me. And he said, "Hey, I'd love to meet. I'd love to meet him." So we ended up going out. I actually went up flying out to Los Angeles to meet him.
Hmm.
And crazy thing was, it was on September 10th of 2011. And the next day we were supposed to work, but obviously with what happened on September 11th, there was not much, music happening that day. We just kind of sat around the TV and just watched and talked and stuff, and really didn't get too much done that whole week. But it was the beginning of our relationship, so to speak. And his name was Kevin MacLeod. He's still a great friend of mine. He introduced me to two other producers that are in New York, Evan Rogers and Carl Sturgeon. And basically, the three of them and myself, we got a demo together, gave it to my lawyer who's in New York, and he just started shopping it around, and we were able to get eight or so different meetings with labels where basically we just go and sit down and play for them.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting like 5 different offers from different record labels. So it was
Oh,
a
wow.
very, very surreal, process, and how the whole thing went down. And I ended up choosing Capitol.
Hmm. Cool. Talk to me about the whole scene, because I know you grew up in Connecticut, and I was just curious because I've spent some time living in Connecticut. What was the music scene like growing up in Connecticut? Did you come across a lot of other talented artists, or tell me about that?
There's a lot of talent that comes out of Connecticut. There's a lot of talent just even growing up in school. We had really great musical program in middle school and in high school. And basically, that we were all encouraged to sing. Those of us who were really interested in it, and who wanted to, have more opportunity. It was there. It was there for us. And talent shows and school musicals and basically anything that you wanted to do with respect to the arts, you could do, which was great.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's I started getting involved when I was in sixth grade, I think. My mom signed me up for this talent show that I didn't want to do, but she actually paid me $20 to do it, and just to go out and audition for or whatever. And I said, okay, for $20 I'll do it, absolutely. So I did it, and I didn't realize I really liked it until I got into 7th grade when I started writing songs. And I started performing a bit more, and that's kind of how it all kind of started to take hold
Yeah.
for me. But there was a bunch of us, kind of growing up, going through through high school. There's absolutely it's a great state to be a musician. I mean, there's a lot of other musicians that are here. I mean, Mid Condition, I think, came from Hartford.
Hmm.
You got Michael Bolton, you got Jose Feliciano, that are all living in Connecticut. Not necessarily grew up in Connecticut, but it's a great place. It's a great place for music, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. I was reading in your recent article that was in the Connecticut Post about your, appearance on The Voice that you didn't really want to do R&B music, but Capitol kind of pushed you in that direction to do more of a mainstream R&B. Can you expand on that?
It's not that I didn't want to do, any R&B at all. I feel that my style and who I am is a mixture of a bunch of different things.
Hmm.
And my first album was closer to what I wanted to do. Just that it was marketed in a way that they were throwing me in this R&B box, and they really didn't market it to anybody else. But the was never given that chance. It never really saw the light of day on that side of things. And then when that record didn't do what they wanted it to do, they basically said, okay, well now we got to go real R&B, and we made the next album even more so in the R&B direction.
Oh, okay.
Which, man, I'm an R&B fan, and I love R&B, and a lot of the way I sing is because I've listened to R&B for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that that's all that I'm about, and I kind of wanted that to be known in my music, and unfortunately, because of the way that it was marketed and promoted, it didn't have the chance to kind of grow outside of that.
Yeah, okay. Many who have had a chance to hear your debut album love it. I'm a big fan of it. What do you remember most about the recording of that album?
Recording that album was amazing, man. I remember being in Los Angeles, and I was there for a good 3 months or so straight at the longest stretch that I was there, and it was awesome. I just got to go into the studio, and I got to work with some great producers, and it was amazing. Working with I think Thomas Harvey Mason. We did some songs together.
Okay.
I worked with Ronnie Skies and Kevin Cloud, who we also produced a few songs on the record with, and then on the New York side, we worked with Evan and Rogers and Carl Sturgeon, Syndicated Rhythm Productions, and we did another 6 songs with those guys. So, it just was amazing just to be able to, that was my job, to go in and sing and write songs and try to finish an album, and man, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I felt that was it. I felt that this is what my life is going to be like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's not that wasn't the case.
Yeah. You went with "Crazy" as the first single. "Beautiful You Are" as the second single. I was wondering, what was the decision process like on choosing the singles? Because I feel like there's so many solid songs you could have chose. Were there artists you were deciding amongst, to pick for a single?
Well, I'll tell you this: the decision to go with "Crazy" was not necessarily, backed by all of us in our tightly knit group between Evan and Carl, myself and Kevin, and the record label. We actually kind of were feeling going in more of the direction like "Song for Your Tears," which was one of my favorite songs, and still is one of the favorite songs on that album.
Yeah.
And but they were like, no, it's too slow, and it doesn't, it's not going to be good for a single. But I felt that it represented me more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's we lost that battle.
Oh yeah.
And that's how that happened. But I mean, we thought "Crazy" was a good song, and that it was gonna would hopefully do well.
Mm-hmm.
But we hoped that it would cross over into pop, where we thought it would do even better. But it did, unfortunately, just label didn't really want it to work that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Besides the singles you released, I love "Slow Motion" and I love "She'll Never Know." Those are two of my other favorites.
Thank you, man.
No problem. Talking about your second album, "Left of Center," that was another very solid album. What do you remember most about putting that album together?
Well, I remember there was some hesitation with the record label on whether they were even going to make that second album.
Yeah.
And, part of me was like, well, if they don't want to make the second album, then, maybe it means I can go somewhere else and start anew. I was kind of, impartial about it. I was like, if they don't want to do it, then I don't want to do something with a company that doesn't have their heart into it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bit of hesitation there, but they finally came back and said that they wanted to do it, and which meant that they had to spend a bunch of money to make the album, and I thought that meant, okay, well, if they're going to try to spend that money, then that means that they're committed. And unfortunately, I was not correct, because when it came time to release the album, we hadn't really done any promotion. We hadn't done any, like any radio, video. We really, like, nobody knew that it was coming out.
Oh yeah.
And I pleaded with Capital to not release it.
Oh wow.
And for us to wait until we can kind of get a better, plan established. But they, because of some fiscal responsibilities, they had to release the album. I didn't find that out until later, but they basically said that they had to put the album out, and they did, and it just didn't sell, which I knew was going to happen because nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
It was common sense to me that was going to happen, and they said, "Oh, well, you're a career artist, and this is, we're not about, first week record sales," and unfortunately, that's exactly what they were about, and that's what happened. And then, one thing led to another, and I ended up, getting dropped.
Yeah. Damn, that's unfortunate.
Some songs that I really loved on that album. The Answer Is Yes. Was one of my favorites.
Yep.
Song I did with Anthony Hamilton, "The Count on Me," was definitely one of my favorites. "Loving You," also.
Yeah.
Just one of the only acoustic songs on the album.
Yeah. Man, that song "Loving You" is so. I felt that song so deeply. There's so much feeling in it. Like, that song is so sad.
Thank you, man. Yeah, definitely not. I wrote it, from the position of a person that I never wanted to.
Yeah.
Never wanted to be. So it was. I definitely. Man, we stayed up until we finished recording that song at 10 in the morning, and we've been up all night. I almost wanted to record it over because my voice was raspy because we had been up all night.
Yeah.
I remember going into the studio probably like 5 that afternoon, and then ready to leave until 10 in the morning, and it was. I'll never forget that, man. I was really tired.
Yeah.
But we got it done. It just was such a good song, and we just wanted to make sure that we got it done, and we did. We did.
Cool. How did you mentioned "Count on Me" with Anthony Hamilton? He's another favorite of mine. How did that collaboration come together?
Well, I was on the road with Anthony for a few months doing a couple tours that we had done together, and we had while on the road together became friends, and we talked about doing some writing together and maybe getting together in the studio. And when it came time, I was working on that second record. I called him. I said, "Hey, Anthony, I'd love to maybe get together if we could. If you're in LA and we can hang out. Can we make it happen?" And he made it happen. He came out and we just sat there. We wrote the song together and we recorded it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I still love that song to this day.
Cool. Talk about the EP you released last year, the Truth acoustic EP. What can music fans find in there if they haven't had a chance to hear it?
And that one was a long time coming. So I mean, after the release of Left of Center, I just I got dropped and I started doing some shows on the road, and it was really just me and my guitar. That was all I could afford to go out and do shows. So I basically would just go out and perform on my own. And for 5 years I was doing that, and all of the shows that I would do. I was still selling my old Capitol stuff, and the people, I'd get this feedback from folks, after they would take the music home, and then they would write me messages on Facebook or MySpace, at the time, and they would say, "Hey, I really like this album, but it doesn't really sound like what I heard when I saw you live."
Yeah.
And which wasn't like a dig or anything. It wasn't like a they weren't saying that it was bad. They were just saying that it was different. It didn't have the same sound because of how produced they were, and how sometimes some of the songs were much heavier on the R&B side than what they saw me doing. And I said, I'm just going to make an acoustic EP. And, I've been trying to find a new record deal for somebody else to really kind of capture who it is that I feel I am as an artist. But I said, I can't wait anymore. I'm gonna have to do something myself. So I recorded that song at home in my home studio. I recorded that album, and it was just 6 songs, but there were 6 songs that I felt really represented me well and represented what I've been doing, for the last 5 years down the road. Like what I've been always doing is just, you know, a lot of times it's been myself and my guitar, but I just wanted something that really spoke to who I was, you know, today.
Yeah.
And in those songs, you know, were all heartfelt. They were all, you know, a bunch of them, you know, just talking about my family, talking about my just my life, you know, and you know, it's definitely the thing. It's the most, you know, it's the most accurate representation of who I am, for sure.
Yeah, cool. You know, I've always wondered, as someone who has, you know, coming from Puerto Rican and Dominican descent, doing R&B, soul music, you know, we don't really see many artists of that nationality in these genres. So, have fans ever received you, you know, differently due to your nationality, or have you just fit right in?
You know, I've always fit right in, man. Music is universal. I mean, as long as you can, you know, if you're good enough, I think people will like it. And if your songs are good and they can speak to people and they can move people, I think that's what is most important. People is if they like what they hear. You know, it's not about if they like where you're from.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've always approached it that way, and you know, fortunately for the most part, it's been received that way. You know, never been an issue, you know, at all.
Okay, good. You know, after things didn't work out with Capitol, what's been the biggest struggle of trying to continue your career as a musician and you know, continue to make a living doing music?
Man, the big struggle was just kind of trying to get some exposure. Really, just trying to, you know, we really wanted to take this thing, you know, to the next level, you know, badly after, after getting out of the Capitol situation. But, you know, we just couldn't find a label that was, you know, that wanted to take a chance on it. And, you know, we had many close calls. We sat down with a bunch of different record companies that knew of my previous work. And, you know, nobody wanted to pull the trigger. Nobody wanted to do it. So it was, that's, you know, like I said, when I came up with the idea just to do something, you know, myself. But, you know, it was something I did for some of my hardcore fans, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, there weren't that many people that bought that record or really knew about that record, because I didn't have the money that a major label does to promote and to get you on the radio and to do all these things. So, you know, it was, you know, it was more, it was a small release, for sure. But, yeah, I mean, that was the biggest, you know, biggest struggle was just trying to, like I said, trying to get a new deal, trying to find a way to, you know, to make ends meet. You know, fortunately, I started doing some college shows and things like that helped, you know, the money, you know, flow. But you know, that's something that I know wasn't going to last. Wasn't going to last forever.
Okay. And I just want to finish up by talking about your current situation, which is, you know, on NBC's The Voice. You had a very successful debut on the show. How did the opportunity come about?
Well, my manager found out about it, and he asked me if I wanted to go and audition for the show, and I said, you know, I mean, am I allowed to? I didn't know if I would be eligible to do that because I had previous albums and stuff like that, and you know, basically I found out after getting out there that there was other folks that were like me that had deals before, that had won, you know, contests and things like that. There was some professionals that, you know, all they do was sing, you know, and though sometimes I didn't make a whole lot of money, you know, that's what I've been doing for the last, you know, 10 years is just, you know, just singing.
Yeah.
So you know, I found that out, and you know, I was much, you know, happier. You know, so I was happy to know that I could do the opportunity, and you know, I almost didn't do it, you know, almost you know, in the end, because I was sick a couple of days before the show, before the audition. I had asked my manager to maybe, you know, to cancel, and he forgot to cancel.
No.
And then the actual day of at the audition, I was feeling better.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, did you cancel my thing? He said, you know what? I forgot. He says he didn't forget. That he thought I was going to come around.
Yeah.
But I said he forgot.
Oh, okay.
and I ended up, coming in. I was flying in from Detroit that day, so I went in to Hartford Airport, and I drove from there down to New York, and I did the audition. And that's, that's kind of how it ended up happening.
Cool. How did you pick the song to perform? You performed a cover of Time After Time. What made you go with that song?
Man, I've always loved that song, and I always kind of, thought that when choosing a cover song, just the ones that people are going to connect with really are the ones that they really love, that were proven hits, but also, ones that they haven't necessarily heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been singing that song in my shows for at least a year or so. I have been singing that song for a good amount of my shows because I love it. And I just thought it would be a good song. It'd be a good representation of what I do, and fortunately it was enough to get me through.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading that you were really nervous before you went on the show, and you said you recorded that saying you could have thrown up at any time before you performed.
I was definitely not that I wasn't feeling good. It's just that that kind of pressure, is definitely overwhelming. So, I was not. I knew I had to go out and do it, and I knew that I would feel better once I got out there, once I started singing. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely a nerve-wracking experience, and I was definitely nervous. Even after I started singing, I could hear it when I listened back to the audition.
Yeah.
That I still had some nerves there because I was making some mistakes that I wish I hadn't made. But but it was, fortunately enough, it was good enough to get everybody to turn around. So I was blessed.
And now that it went so well and it was so received by the judges, do you give yourself a legitimate chance to win the whole thing?
Well, I don't know, man. There's a lot more to go, man. I don't really look at it that way. You gotta take it one step at a time, and you gotta focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand is not, winning the whole thing right now. The task at hand is getting to the next phase, getting to the next level. And I put all my heart and soul into that one task, and then you move on to the next.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep your eye on the prize at the same time, but you're doing it incrementally. You're doing it in order, as I feel it should be done.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And one last question, for the hardcore Javier fans and for the new fans you're gaining now, do you see another album coming, anytime soon in the future, or what's next?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this, how the show pans out. If I do well enough and I end up getting picked up by the label, then we'll definitely, be seeing an album very soon. Even if not, I'm going to try to put my own thing out. Once everything is all. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't sleep enough last night.
No problem.
Once the show is all said and done, then either way, I'm going to try to get back into the studio, and I'm going to try to get something out to everybody. I've had some really, really great, supportive, fans over the years. Some of which have stuck by me, though they're a small number. Mm-hmm. But hopefully that number is growing with what I'm doing now, and just trying to get some more stuff for them to listen to and enjoy. So
cool.
Hoping that'll be again before the end of the year. No matter what happens, we're hoping to have something else out.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Man, just I'll be on the Today Show on Tuesday, which is an amazing thing. I think at like 9:30 they're going to have me on, which is just it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and my single, the Time After Time that we recorded, that they have been selling on iTunes. They sold all anyone who made it through to the next round, you know, we recorded songs and they're available on iTunes. And my song got down to like number 14 on the iTunes chart,
oh,
on
wow.
the iTunes sales chart at one point, which was amazing, which was just amazing. So hopefully, if you know, if people, you know, saw the audition and they heard it and they liked it, they can definitely grab the single on iTunes as well.
Cool.
And also my EP is also on iTunes as well under my name. If you just search Javier Colon, you'll see it, the newest album on there.
Cool. Yeah, I got a link to your audition up there on our site, and I put a link to the iTunes too, so people can buy it. Definitely, if they're interested.
That is what's up. And I have a new look to my website, which is just javiercolon.com. It's got a bunch of great new stuff, some merchandise, as well as the new EP you can get there from take you right to CD Baby to grab it from there as well.
Cool. Great. You know, thank you so much for this interview, man. Like I said, we've been big supporters of you for years now, and we're glad you're getting the attention you're currently getting now with the show and everything, and it's well deserved. And best of luck on there to you.
Tom, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you guys, you know, sticking by me all these years, and hopefully we got some new things, you know, some exciting stuff in the near future. I'm hoping.
No problem, man. I look forward to that. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Right.
See ya.
Take care.